Hare Krishna, everyone. We have some technical difficulty and looks like it's resolved now. We were chanting Srila Prabhupada's favorite bhajan, Jai Radha Madhav Kunja-bihārī. For your benefit, I will repeat it again. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja-bihārī, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja-bihārī, Gopijan Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopijan Vallabha Girivardhari, Jashodanandan Vrajajan Ranjan, Jashodanandan Vrajajan Ranjan, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja-bihārī, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja-bihārī. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaचार्य अष्टोत्तर शता भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। अंतर मायापुर धाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। समावेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। All good to assemble devotees, all good to assemble devotees, all good to assemble devotees, all good to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Utpada Kamalam, Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam, Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of a spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnava. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatt, Gopal Bhatt and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna, along with their associate Shri Lalita and Vishakha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Deen Bandho Jagatpate, Gopesh Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh my dear Krishna, ocean of mercy, you are the friend of distress and the source of creation. You are the master of the cowherd man and lover of the gopis, especially Srimati Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, who is queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. I offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you for joining. We apologize for some disturbance because of the technical difficulty. But instead of 6:30, we will extend whatever time you lost. So we will make up that time today. So let's go back to the reading of Bhagavad-gītā as it is. We are reading from chapter 2 and the text number is 9. Sanjay Uvacha Evam Muktva Rushikesham Gudakesha Parantapaham Nayotsi iti Govindam Uktva Tushrim Babhuvaha. Wherever you are, you can repeat if you want. Sanjay Uvacha Evam Muktva Rushikesham Gudakesha Parantapaham Nayotsi iti Govindam Uktva Tushrim Babhuvaha. So we have the word-to-word translation given by Srila Prabhupada. Sanjay Uvacha, Sanjay said, Evam, thus, Uktva, speaking, Rushikesham, unto Krishna, the master of senses, Gudakesha, Arjuna, the master of curbing ignorance, Param Tapaha, the chastiser of enemies, Nayotse, I shall not fire. Iti, thus, Govindam, unto Krishna, the giver of pleasure to the senses, Uktva, saying, Tushnim, silent, Babhuva, became, certainly. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjuna was not going to fight and was instead leaving the battlefield for the begging profession. But Sanjay disappointed him again in the relating that Arjuna was competent to kill his enemies. Param Tapaha. Although Arjuna was for the time being overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, as a disciple. This indicates that he would soon be free from false lamentation resulting from family affection, and would be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization or Krishna consciousness, and would then surely fight. Thus, Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated, since Arjuna would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end. So again, let's see the translation says, Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. So this is a very beautiful and very dramatic presentation here by Maharishi Vedvyas. So what happened that in this verse, Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra that after taking refuge in Lord in the manner described above, and praying to him for instruction and guidance, and then expressing his own oppressive and disturbing thoughts, Arjuna now definitely said that he would not fight, and thereafter became silent. Shri Krishna is called Govinda because according to derivation, Gobir Veda Vakya Vidyate Labhyate, the truth about God is known through the words of the Vedas. The Gita also says, Vedesh Sarve Aham Eva Vedyaham. It is I whom the four Vedas seek to know. So, anticipating the question as to what Bhagavan Shri Krishna did when Arjuna became silent, Sanjay says that Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahasanya Bharata Senyor Ubayor Madhye Vishadanti Vachaha. Then, O Dhritarashtra, Shri Krishna, as if smiling, addressed the following words to surrounding and sorrowing Arjuna in the midst of the two armies. This is very beautiful. When thus Arjuna merged in distressing thoughts and taking refuge in the Lord, sought for the way to overcome his intense grief and declared that neither sovereignty over the earth nor lordship over gods would drive away that grief. The Lord, considering him a fit recipient for instruction in order to remove his grief and infatuation for all time, first shows him what is real and what is unreal, and trying to prove that it was Arjuna's duty to engage in the fight, even from the point of view of knowledge, enters into discussion of path of knowledge. And this is a turning point. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. This is where actually Bhagavad-gītā starts. Gita means the song of God. And here, by saying Bhagavan Uvacha, it says that now Bhagavan start singing that prayer that he sang on the battlefield. What did he say? Ashochanan mashochastvam prajnavadashubhashase gatasuna gatasuscha nanu shochanti pandita. So, Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for, and yet speak like a learned wise man. Do not sorrow over the dead or over the living. So this is a very beautiful beginning Lord Sri Krishna has started. Bhagavan Sri Krishna told Arjuna that he was grieving for Bhishma and other relations who should not be grieved for. The question naturally arises, why should they not be grieved for? The Lord, therefore, first of all, establishes the eternal character of the soul and proves that from the point of view of the soul, it was unwise to grieve for them. So he says, Natveham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nacheva na bhavishyamaha sarveva yamataparam. In fact, there was never a time when I was not, or when you or these kings were not, nor it is a fact that hereafter we shall all cease to be. So, thus showing the soul as eternal by nature, the Lord now proceeds to bring out its immutable character by saying beautiful verse. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jaram tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namayati. Just as boyhood, youth and old age are attributed to the soul through this body, even so it attains another body. The wise man does not get deluded about this. So, showing that the soul was eternal and immutable, the Lord established the position that it was unwise to grieve for the same. But here it may be urged that notwithstanding the eternal immutable character of the soul, union with and separation from one's kin and kith do bring actual experience of pleasure and pain. Therefore, how can grief be avoided? In reply to this, Lord declares all contact and separation to be transitory by nature and urges that both pleasure and the pain arising from them should be avoided. A very beautiful comparison is given here in this particular verse. Matra sparsha sukanteya shitoshna sukadukhadam agama paino nityam stansti titikshava bharata. It says, O son of Kunti, the context between the senses and their objects, which give rise to the feeling of the heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc., are transitory and fleeting. Therefore, Arjuna, ignore them. Very wonderful. See, right now it's a winter time. In few weeks only, everybody will say, too hot, too hot. Yeah, turn the fan on, right? So this thing doesn't last very long. It's all very transitory. So what happened? That anticipating the question as to what will be the effect of ignoring such contexts of senses and their objects, the Lord is explaining further in this next verse. He says, Yam hina vachyante te purusham purusharshva samaduka sukham dhiram so amritvaya kalpate. Very beautiful. They say, Arjuna, the wise man to whom pain and the pleasure are alike, and who is not tormented by these contexts, become eligible for immortality. So yesterday only we were in a Bhagavatam class. We were learning about all the demons that desire to be immortal. For example, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, right? But the real way is the wise man to whom pain and pleasures are alike and who is not tormented by the contacts become eligible for immortality. All those asuras, although they perform lot of austerities, there are lot of boons upon personalities like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. But where are they? What happened to them? They all had to go when time came. And that is why Lord Krishna is declared the contact of senses and mind with objects of the senses as fleeting and transitory. But he did not make it clear how the soul was eternal and how such contact was transitory. And therefore, the Lord defines what is real and what is unreal in order to show how to distinguish between the two. He says, Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataham, ubayorapi drashtant sanmanyu tatpadarshibhi. The unreal has no existence and the real never ceases to be. The reality of both has thus been perceived by the seers of the truth. So this is a very wonderful verse where the definition of real and definition of unreal is given. Of the real, it is stated in the preceding verse that it never ceases to be. The Lord now proceeds to tell us what the real is. What is that real? Na asato vidyate bhavo, na abhavo vidyate satah. So he says, avinashi tu tadviddhi, yena sarvidam tatam, vinash abhyasyaya, na kashis kartum arhasi. Now that alone to be imperishable, which pervades this universe, for no one has power to destroy this indestructible substance. Explaining thus what is real, the Lord proceeds to tell us what is unreal. What is unreal? Antavanta ime deha nityastoktya sharinam anashino premayasya tasmad yudhyasva bharatam. All these bodies pertaining to the imperishable, indefinable and eternal soul are spoken of as perishable. Therefore, Arjuna, fight. So, Lord's business was to prepare him to fight this Mahabharata war. And that is why this was the perfect time to convincing that he is in the middle of the war, he is on the battlefield, and now he should put all the, what they call panditai, all the intelligent decisions that he has taken, put it aside and prepare himself to fight against the Kauravas. So Lord commanded Arjuna to fight, showing the soul to be eternal and changeless. But no clear light was thrown by him on the problem raised by Arjuna when he said, I do not want to kill them. It would be better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra kill me. Therefore, he deals with that problem saying that it was nothing but ignorance to think that the soul was capable of killing or was killed. Very interesting. He says, Yaenam veti hantaram yaschenam manyate hatam ubauto na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. They are both ignorant. He who knows the soul to be capable of killing and he who takes it as killed. For verily the soul neither kills nor is killed. So, that the soul cannot be killed by anybody. The question therefore arises, how is it that the soul cannot be killed? In answer to this, showing that the soul is not subject to any form of modification, the Lord brings out the character of the soul. So, in order to understand Bhagavad-gītā, this is the priority, this is the first thing we have to know, the qualities of the soul. And this is the verse that begins explaining the qualities of the soul. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyah ajo nitya shasvato yah purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The soul is never born nor dies, nor does it become only after being born. For it is unborn, eternal, everlasting and ancient. Even though the body is slain, the soul is not. So, every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday and almost every Saturday or Sunday, when we give this particular pravachan on Gita, we try to consolate the families of the departed soul by saying that he is always with us. He is always with us. She is always with us. She is always with us. Right? We say, whoever the departed soul, he or she, but they are always with us, even though they have left this material world, even though their body is not available anymore. They are still with us. Why? Because the soul is eternal. And that's why Krishna, let's repeat this again. The soul is never born or dies, nor does it become only after being born. For it is unborn, eternal, everlasting and ancient. Even though the body is slain, the soul is not. So, the soul neither kills anybody, nor is killed by anybody. In that connection, showing in the verse, the soul is above modification. It has been made clear why it is not killed by anybody. It is shown why the soul does not kill anybody. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purushah partham kim ghatayati hantikam. Arjuna, Lord says, the man who knows this soul to be imperishable, eternal and free from birth and decay, how and whom will he cause to be killed? How and whom will he kill? True, the soul is eternal and imperishable. It can never be killed, and therefore it should not be grieved for. And the body, being perishable, must perish, and the body too should not be grieved for. But when a soul leaves one body and enters another, the process involves excessive pain. anticipating this question, Lord is explaining by giving a wonderful example. After I finish, I'll feel a little comfortable when I'm sitting in my living room in my pajamas, when I sleep in my bed with pajamas. So what happens to this dress? I take it out and put the new one. So that's the kind of example Lord is trying to give, that when the body is done, right, then at certain age, when your prarabdha karma are finished, whether you are young or old or even a child, whatever it is, you have to leave this world by leaving that body. And so that worn out body is gone, but your soul is still there. These clothes may be going in the garbage or in the laundry or whatever, but the new clothes are there, or my body is still there. Similarly, the worn out body may have gone, but the soul is still around. So, Lord is beautifully explaining, Vasansi jirnati yatha vihaya navani gruyati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnan nanyati sanyati navani deha. As a man shedding worn out garments takes another new ones, likewise the embodied soul, casting off worn out bodies, enters into others which are new. So this is a wonderful example on the analogy of Vasansi, means Vasansi means clothes. Use of the plural form in Sharirani also has been made after due thought and consideration. There may be two reasons for the use of the plural form in this case. Sharirani. Why Sharirani? One sharir is enough for body. But Lord says, Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani gruyati naroparani tatha sharirani means not one, many. Why? So there is no knowing how many bodies a particular Jivatma has cast off up till now. There are 8,004,400,000 species of life. You have choice. You can become a dog if you want. You can become a snake if you want. You can become a tiger if you want. You can become a fish if you want. 8,400,000 species of life. And we are going into the cycle, birth after birth after birth after birth. Nobody knows. There is no knowing how many bodies a particular Jivatma has cast off up till now. How many it has taken anew, and how many more it will continue hereafter to cast off and adopt till it obtains enlightenment and consequent release from birth and death. This is indicated by the plural form applied in the context. That's why he says Sharirani. You may have taken many, many millions of births and deaths. Now, every individual soul possesses 3 bodies. Let's forget about all those different births and different bodies or species that we have gone through. Even in this particular body that we have right now, every individual soul possesses 3 bodies. What are they? The gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. Right? When the Jivatma leaves one body and enters into another, all these 3 bodies are changed. The actions of a man are responsible for the modification of his nature or disposition. The causal body is represented by one's individual nature made up of sattva, rajas and tamas, or the principles of harmony, motion and inertia. Our basic nature, we may be made out of mode of ignorance. Some may be mode of goodness or mode of passion. These are the causal, and that is known as the causal body, whether the individual nature made of sattva, raja or tamas. And based on these principles, principles of harmony, principle of motion and principle of inertia. When you are made up out of mode of ignorance, that's the principle of inertia. When you are made out of mode of passion, that's the mode of motion. And when you are made out of mode of goodness, that's the principle of harmony. So, mode of ignorance, passion and goodness is mentioned and given the different principles of harmony, motion and inertia. This is also known as a disposition or temperament. Generally speaking, it is one's nature which determines the last thought at the time of death. As you know, when we read it will come, Antakale chamamevam smaran muktva kalevaram. If you think of Krishna, you go back to Godhead. But if you want to eat meat, I remember when I came to this country, few years back, we had a president and they had some problem with foreign country. And they hold 52 American soldiers on their land. They will kill you. For months and months, they were holding these 52 soldiers. Nothing to drink, nothing to eat. Very badly they were treated. And finally, with all kind of apologies and settlements, with help of United Nations and all that, they say, okay, we are going to release all these hostages today. Everybody were, the whole world was very happy. Hostages are being released. So the reporters and the authorities, they went to these hostages and they said, we would like to know, today you are free, free like birds. You can drink and eat whatever you want. We are going to treat you. Sorry, we treated you so badly so far. But we would ask you, you are our guest now. What would you like to eat and drink? And they said, we would like to drink a cold beer and hamburger from McDonald's. These hostages were very fond of eating meat. If by chance some of them, they were bringing the helicopter and died, do you think they went back to Godhead? No. Smaran mukta kalevaram. No one was thinking about Krishna or God or Allah or anything. But they all wanted to eat meat. So some of them who died in that crash, they ended up being a tiger, a wild cat, right? Who eats meat. Because that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to eat. And God fulfilled their desire by making them tiger. So this is what it is. This is also known as disposition or temperament. Generally speaking, it is one's nature that determines the last thought at the time of death. And according to that last thought or desire, the subtle body is formed. The Jivatma leaves a worn out body, carrying the subtle and causal bodies with it, and enters into the new gross body suited to the subtle body. Thus, it was quite reasonable to use the plural form of a word to indicate the change that takes place in all the three bodies: gross, subtle, and causal. So, naturally, the gross body is burning down to ashes. Some throw that kind of body in a river. Some put it in the ground and cover with the dirt. Sometimes, when there are no last rites, then the birds eat the body. The animal, the beasts eat the body. The worms eat the body. Whatever happens to the gross body happens. But the subtle body and the Karana body, which is known as the causal body, they go together with the soul. So, proving it unreasonable to grieve over the process of leaving one body and adopting another, the Lord reverts in the next 3 verses to a discussion in an indirect way of the eternal and changeless character of the soul, because of the difficulty in understanding its character, and proves that grieving for fear of its destruction was unbecoming and improper. So, this kind of discussion, reading, and especially the words of God should give consolations to the family. We are all with the departed soul, and may it rest in peace, but at the same time, we should not be lamenting like ignorant people. And that's why Lord is trying to explain furthermore the characteristics and the qualities of the soul. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chaidam klediyanto apo, na shoshati marutaha. Lord says, weapons cannot cut it, nor can fire burn it, water cannot wet it, nor can wind dry it. For this soul is incapable of being cut. It is proof against fire, impervious to water, undryable as well. This soul is eternal, omnipresent, immovable, constant, and everlasting. So, further Lord explains the qualities of the soul. This soul is unmanifested, it is unthinkable, and it is spoken of as immutable. Therefore, knowing this as much and as such, you should not grieve. So, this is what Lord keep trying to explain and convince Arjuna. And Arjuna, if you should suppose this soul to be subject to constant birth and death, even then you should not grieve like this. Even if you don't believe in my words and think that the soul is dying, it's okay. You should not be grieving for that. Why? Because jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mrutasya cha tasmad parihararte natvam shochamti harhasim. For in that case, death is certain for the born, and rebirth is inevitable for the dead. You should not therefore grieve over the inevitable. Arjuna, before birth, beings are not manifest to our human senses. At death, they return to the unmanifested again. They are manifest only in the interim between birth and death. That occasion then, what the occasion then for lamentation, right? Just like if there is a land and somebody is throwing some mango seed after eating the mango, all you see is the ground. But then over the night there is rain, and suddenly in the morning you see that seed is coming out of the ground, and pretty soon you see a little plant growing from that seed, and eventually year by year it passes, and then you see the big mango tree coming out of it, which produces hundreds and thousands of seeds and mangoes and fruits and flowers and twigs. So, a little seed has that potency. So, in the beginning you see there was nothing. It was unmanifested when the seed was in the ground. Then it came out as a plant. It started manifesting. It stayed here on this ground as a tree, mango tree, for years after years after years, giving hundreds and thousands of mangoes and thousands of seeds. Out of it, we can grow so many mango trees, right? That's the manifested forms. And then again, someday, all these trees have to go. They dry out. And then again, there is a ground. Somehow or other, things come in picture, then it vanishes. So we should not be lamenting about this. Before birth, beings are not manifest to our human senses. At death, they return to the unmanifested again. They are manifest only in the interims between birth and death. What occasion then for lamentation? Being extremely hard to understand, the Lord described the nature of the soul in the above verses in diverse ways in order to make Arjuna understand the truth about it. Now in the next verse, he shows the difficulty and marvelous nature of perception, description and hearing of that truth. What is that? That's our reaction. Hardly anyone perceives this soul as marvelous. Scarce another likewise speaks therefore as marvelous, and scarce another hears of it as marvelous, while there are some who know it not even on hearing of it. Some understand and some just give up on it. So, describing thus the difficulty and marvelous nature of perception, description and hearing the truth about the soul, the Lord now concludes the treatment of the Sankhya Yoga or the Yoga of knowledge by advising Arjuna and that the soul being ever incapable of being slain, he should not grieve for any being whatsoever. The soul dwelling in the bodies of all can never be slain. Therefore, you should not mourn for anyone. Having demonstrated so far, from the point of view of Sankhya Yoga, the unity and the eternal imperishable character of the soul, which is everlasting, stainless, enlightened, impartial, changeless, and non-doer, and declaring the body to be perishable. It has been proved that it is unreasonable to lament either for the soul or for the body, or for the matter of that, for the separation of the soul from the body. Incidentally, it has also been shown that even if the soul be regarded as subject to birth and death, grieving for it does not stand to reason, and Arjuna is therefore commanded to fight. Now, the Lord proceeds to demonstrate that it was unreasonable to grieve even according to the code of honor laid down for the Kshatriya. Hence, Arjuna is again encouraged to enter the fight. So, at this moment, we are all in the position just like Arjuna. And that's why we are all lamenting for the departed soul. But we heard Krishna saying that is useless. And that is why only thing we can do is Radha Govinda is right in front of us. I was just talking about the Asuras. But even among Asuras, they understand whatever is said in scripture. And Antakalecha Mamevam Smaran Mukta Kalevaram, at the end, Yad Gatvana Nivartante Tad Dhamma Paramam Mama. Once you go to back to Godhead, you don't have to come back, because you chanted and prayed properly for your destination. The final desire was to go back to Godhead and serve Krishna. So even the Asuras that we are talking about, one of them was Vrutrasura. And Vrutrasura says, before he died, he is praying in this verse. We should learn something, even though it is from Asura. In definition of Srimad Bhagavatam, his name is there. So many devotees are there, like Prahlad and Dhruva and Ambarish Maharaj and all that. But when we read the definition of Bhagavatam, it reminds us of this Asura who is Vrutrasura. Because he was able to digest this particular message, that we should be thinking of Krishna and we should be thanking Krishna. Yes, you may desire dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but in the prayer you will see how those purushartha, dharma, artha, kama and moksha were asked or prayed for by Vrutrasura. So Vrutrasura says, O my Lord, will I again be able to engage in the service of your eternal servants, so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes. My words glorify those attributes, and my body engage in your loving service. That's the real dharma. You engage your body in the service of Radha Govinda. And that's what he's asking by asking for dharma. That, please give me a chance so that I can be with you, serving you. Now next is asking for earth. How is asking for earth? He says, O my Lord, I do not desire an exalted post as the ruler of one of the material planetary systems, nor do I desire the powers of mystic yoga or even liberation if it entails giving up the shelter of your lotus feet. Right? Let's say you become king of this earth, right? All the material desires that you have, you can fulfill, because all the opulences that this planet contains belongs to you. You are the king of the planet, right? So he asks for nothing. He says that if entails giving up the shelter of your lotus feet, I do not desire an exalted post as the ruler of one of the material planetary system. And then is asking for dharma, artha, kama. What is saying? O lotus-eyed Lord, as baby birds always look for their mother to return feed them, as small cows tied up with a rope anxiously await the time of milking. He's giving the examples of the baby birds who are in the nest. The birds flew away and they get little grains in their pick and they try to feed them while they come back. But until they are back, the baby birds are waiting for those, their parents. The baby cows, they are waiting for cows so that they get little milk from their mother. So similarly, Vritrasura says that I am also waiting for you. Just like a baby birds are waiting for the birds, their parents, and cows for the cow, I am waiting in the same way. As baby birds always look for their mother to return and feed them, as small cows tied up with rope anxiously await the time of milking, or as a morose wife longs to the return of her husband. When the husband is gone away to foreign countries, the wife is alone, and every moment she is thinking, when is he going to come back? When is he going to come back? So she is always thinking of her husband who is far away. Vritrasura says, I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you. Right now, Krishna, we are separated, but I want to be with you and I want to directly serve you. This Asura, the demon, Vritrasura, his fourth and final prayer is beautiful. And he says, Oh my Lord, I am wandering throughout this material world, and due to the spell of your external energy, I remain attached to my body, wife, children, and home. Now, however, I wish to be attached to these things no longer. Let my mind, consciousness, and everything that I possess be attached only to you, only to Shri Shri Radha Govinda. So this way, this particular event, although death, nobody welcomes death, it's not a good thing, we know. But still, when it happens to somebody, it gives us chance in scripture which is known as a pratikramana. What is a pratikramana? Pratikramana means to go back, to reflect and review, to confess and atone for transgressions of mind. Transgressions of mind. If we did something which should not have been done, then that transgressions of mind, body, and speech in one's daily activities, returning and reaffirming the path of non-violence, truthfulness, and non-attachment. Anything wrong that we have committed, we should be aware of it, and we should be apologizing for that. And that's why we have to take shelter of people, devotees, and in our Guru Parampara, the personalities like Narottam Thakur and all those. So let's read one beautiful bhajan where Narottam Das Thakur is teaching us that this kind of occasion when someone dies, in our family or anything. Behalf of the departed soul, we should be asking for apology, forgiveness for our wrongdoings from the Lord. And we should realize, analyzing our own life, that I have spent my life uselessly, having obtained a human birth and having not worshipped Radha and Govinda. I have knowingly drunk poison. What have I done? I have wasted my life. I have wasted my time. But still I am alive, and I will make up for all that loss. Every moment I will think of Lord Krishna, and everything that I do, I will offer it to Lord Sri Krishna. And this way, sacrificing rest of my life, I will definitely able to please Lord Sri Krishna. So, Narottam Das Thakur is singing behalf of all of us. Hari Hari Vipule Jan Gonain, Hari Hari Vipule Jan Gonain, Manusya Janama Payam Radha Krishna Navajiyam, Manusya Janama Payam Radha Krishna Navajiyam, Janiya Shuniya Vish Khainu, Janiya Shuniya Vish Khainu, Golokera Premadana, Harinama Sankirtana, Golokera Premadana, Harinam Sankirtana, Ratina Janmilo Kenita, Ratina Janmilo Kenita, Sansara Bishanale Divanishi Iyajwale, Sansara Bishanale Divanishi Iyajwale, Juraite na koinu upaya, Juraite na koinu upaya, Juraite na koinu upaya. Brajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Sutta Hoilo Sei, Brajendra Nandana Jai Sachi Sutta Hoilo Sei, Balaram Hoilo Nitai, Balarama Hoilo Nitai, Dinahina Jata Chilo, Hariname Udarilo, Dinahina Jata Chilo, Hariname Udarilo, Tara Shakti Jagai Madhai, Tara Shakti Jagai Madhai. Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Rushabhanu Sutta Juta, Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Rushabhanu Sutta Juta, করুণা করো এইবার, করুণা করো এইবার। नरोत्तम दास कोय नाथ लियो रंग पाय, नरोत्तम दास कोय नाथ लियो रंग पाय। तुम बिन किया चे हमारा, तुम बिन किया चे हमारा। हरि हरि विफल जन गुणाइनु, हरि हरि विफल जन गुणाइनु। ब्रजेंद्र नंदना जय सचि सुता होइलो से, ब्रजेंद्र नंदना जय सचि सुता होइलो से। बलराम होइलो निताई, बलराम होइलो निताई। जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय, जय गौरानिताय। So this month on February 25th, here in this temple, Radha Govinda temple, we are going to celebrate Lord Nityananda's appearance day. So that is the Nityananda Trayodashi that day. That's the 25th of February. It is for New York timing. The Chicago, Toronto, New York, they run a little bit different. So check your local temples, because they may be celebrating on 24th. And that is why I say that if you live in New York, according to New York timings, according to ISKCON calendar, we are scheduled to celebrate Nityananda Trayodashi on February 25th. So please be there. Nityananda Prabhu ki Go Premanande! So, it was a very wonderful reading. I was just reading Mahabharata, and in Mahabharata there is a very beautiful story. The Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, Sahadev and Nakul, they actually see different dreams. They were so fortunate that every night they will sit at the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, and they will share their thoughts, their doubts, their dreams, and sometimes they try to get the proper guidance in their life by speaking their private lives, and that way they will be benefited. So they were very fortunate. So one time Yudhishthira said, I would like to talk about my dream. He said, I had a dream one time that an elephant with 2 trunks. Krishna, please tell us, is there any meaning? And Lord Shri Krishna says, it is a symbol of a leader in a Kali Yuga. That leaders will eat with both the trunks. They will eat everything from the state treasury, and also they will try to suck the blood of the ordinary people and get all the money that they can get out of them. So this is a Kali Yuga, and your dream is from Kali Yuga. Then Bhim say, I saw a bird chanting auspicious mantras. At the same time, he was eating meat. So I don't understand this particular bird. So Krishna says it is a symbol of intelligent class of society in Kali Yuga. The priest, the engineer, the chartered accountant, lawyer will use their knowledge not for serving the community, but to cheat them to make money. Then Arjuna says, one time I saw a cow licking the body of a calf, and the baby cow was so much miserable because of all the time licking. So Krishna says this is a symbol of modern parents in Kali Yuga. They will spoil their children by providing much more than what they require. Children's development will be suffocated because they will be overly loved and cared for by their parents. Of course, they save money and they try to raise their children, but they leave too much for them. And that's why they get spoiled easily. Then Sahadev says, I saw 7 wells, and all the 7 wells, out of those 7 wells, 6 wells full of water, and 1 well didn't have any water whatsoever. So Krishna says, in Kali Yuga, there will not be equality in society. Some will make lots of money and other may suffer. So we see that unequal condition. And finally Nakul says, I saw a rolling stone coming down from a mountain, and I was afraid that that rolling stone, the huge stone that is gliding down from the mountain, will fall on the little village and will kill everybody. But at the same time I saw a blade of grass from the mountain, and it stopped that force of the stone. Stone stopped right there by means of a blade of the glass. So he says, what is this? Krishna says, the blade of grass is nothing but religion. This offering we did, we are doing the arti now. When you do the devotional service, it can stop even the annihilation, the greatest difficulty in our life. So please join the kirtan, let us chant the Sandhya prayer, and wherever you are, if you have facility, if you have incense, ghee lamp, a little water and hanky or chamar, you can always offer it to the Lord and just follow. The pujari is trying to give arti to Shri Radha Govinda. Shri Radha Govinda Deva ki. Ki bajayo Jaya Gora Chandra Aruti Kusho Ki bajayo Jaya Gora Chandra Aruti Kusho Janavi Tatuani Jaguman Lobha Janavi Tatuani Jaguman Lobha Dakshinanikai Chat Bhagavad-gītā Dakshina-nikai Chat Bhagavad-gītā Dakshina-nikai Chat Bhagavad-gītā Dakshina शांत वाम गदाधरं निकटे अद्वैत श्रेणी वासछत्रधारा निकटे अद्वैत श्रेणी वासछत्रधारा बसी घोराच रत्नसिंहासन बसी घोराच रत्नसिंहासन आरती कोरेन ब्रह्मा आदिदेवगण आरती कोरेन ब्रह्मा आदिदेवगण नरा हरि आदि कोरे छामर दुलाय नरा हरि आदि कोरे छामर दुलाय संजय मुकुंद बासु घोष आदि गाया संजय मुकुंद बासु घोष आदि गाय शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाज करतालम शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाज करतालम मधुर मृदंगा बाजे पारमारसाला मधुर मृदंगा बाजे पारमारसाला शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल बहु कोटि चंद्र जिनी बदन उज्ज्वला बहु कोटि चंद्र जिनी बदन उज्ज्वला गाल देशे वनमाला कोर जालमाला गल जैसे वनमाला खोरे जलमाला शिव शुक नारदा हम गदा गदा शिव शुक नारदा हम गदा गदा भक्ति विनोद देख घोरार संपादा भक्ति विनोद देख घोरार संपादा कि बजायो जय गौराचंदे आरती को शोभन कि बजायो जय गौराचंदे आरती को शोभन जानवी तटवन जगमान लोबा जानवी तटवन जगमान लोबा हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarin Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesham Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarin Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य स्तोत्र सदा भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिव सिद्ध गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, अंतर्विद मायापुर धाम की जय, वृंदा देवी की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, समावेश भक्त वृंद की जय। गॉड हेवन एंड earth, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Guru and Gaurang. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, प्रहलाद लाद दायिनी, प्रहलाद लाद दायिनी, हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः, हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः, शिलटङ्कानकारायन्, शिलटङ्कानकारायन्, इतो नृसिंहो परतो नृसिंहो, इतो नृसिंहो परतो नृसिंहो, नरसिंहं गतिं शरणं प्रपदि, यतो यतोऽयमिततो नृसिंहो, यतो यतोऽयमिततो नृसिंहो, बहिर्नृसिंहो हृदये नृसिंहो, बहिर्नृसिंहो हृदये नृसिंहो, नरसिंहं गतिं शरणं प्रपद्ये, नरसिंहं गतिं शरणं प्रपद्ये। तव कर कमल वरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार, दारिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृंगा, केशवदेता नरहरि रूपा, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। ताव कर कमल भरे नखाम अद्भुत श्रृंगार, दारिका हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृंगा, केशवदेता नरहरि रूपा, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे, जय जगदीश हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव, जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव। जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज। प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्री श्री राधा गोविंद देव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की।
Hare Krishna, thank you for joining this evening virtual home program. My host is Dulci Kaso, and she sponsored this program in honor of her mother. She just left this material world 11 days ago. So Hare Krishna, and she will go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thanks for joining. And next we'll see you on Wednesday night, 4:30 to 6:30. Sorry for delay, sorry for confusion. Thank you.